Welcome to Teaching StarCraft. Teaching StarCraft is a tutorial for the video game StarCraft II and is built from the ground up, starting by teaching basic rules and instructions before moving into more advanced techniques and guidance. This tutorial will focus primarily on competitive multiplayer play. It is split into 3 parts. Each part is then split into episodes corresponding to specific areas of guidance. Part 1 will serve as an introduction to the game and is intended for new players or those with little to no experience. Players with more experience may wish to skip directly to parts 2 or 3. Episode 1: Introduction to StarCraft. In this episode, we will introduce you to StarCraft II, explain how it is played, and show you some of the basic features and concepts of the game. This episode will also briefly discuss the structure of Teaching StarCraft so that it may be used effectively by players of all skill levels and competitiveness. An introduction to StarCraft. StarCraft II is a real-time strategy or RTS game designed specifically for the PC. RTS is a video game genre that emphasizes skillful thinking and planning to achieve victory. Unlike turn-based strategy games such as chess or Go, real-time strategy games play out in continuous time, meaning speed and quick decision-making are two of the most important skills to have. The objectives of StarCraft II are simple. Collect resources, use those resources to build a base, then create an army, and use it to destroy your opponents. Races. In StarCraft II, you can play as one of 3 races: the Protoss, the Terran, or the Zerg. The Protoss are a race of powerful psionic warriors who use robotic technology and psionic powers to destroy their opponents. Protoss generally rely on having a single squad of extremely powerful soldiers and win games through brute force and sheer willpower. The Terrans are a futuristic human race, employing infantry, mechanical vehicles, and powerful airships. Terrans generally look to superior positioning and scrappy guerrilla-like warfare to beat their opponents. Finally, the Zerg are your classic alien bug race. The Zerg consists entirely of biological alien creatures ranging from vicious critters to psionic bugs to flying monstrosities to acid-spitting beasts. Zerg win games primarily by overwhelming their opponents with superior numbers, swarming in with endless waves of vicious attacks. Although you can change your race from game to game, most players tend to stick to a single race. Even then, you will have to be well versed in 3 different matchups since your opponents could be any of the 3 races, regardless of the choice you make. If you are the indecisive type, you can also choose random, allowing the computer to choose your race for you. Before picking a race, it is a good idea to try out each race at least a little bit, either by playing random or by cycling through the races over time. Not only will this give you a better idea of each race's strengths and weaknesses, it will also help with general game understanding. At the professional level, the 3 races are considered to be relatively balanced. StarCraft II is also constantly patched to ensure no race is too dominant. Basic gameplay. In StarCraft, you generally have to build an army before you can destroy your opponent. A common misconception is that StarCraft is about battles and fighting, when in fact it is based in economic management, which is overall more important. Every StarCraft game begins the same way, with 1 primary structure and 6 workers, regardless of which race you play. You can build more workers at your primary structure. Workers mine minerals for you, which allow you to build more workers, improving your economy over time. Workers also build structures, helping you create a base. This worker is building a refinery. It will help the worker to mine a new resource called Vespene, which will help advance your technology later on. In addition to their resource cost, workers and other units also require supply. Supply is provided by supply buildings, such as the supply depot, pylons, or overlords, depending on which race you play. Make sure to build lots of supply buildings as well as workers in order to keep your base growing. Of course, you can also build production facilities, such as this barracks. Production facilities will allow you to train attacking and spellcasting units. Once you begin mining Vespene gas, you can begin building more advanced structures, which offer higher technologies and stronger units. Certain buildings also allow you to upgrade your units, making them stronger and more cost-effective, or granting them special abilities. Buildings and units often have special requirements. Each race has its own technology tree and works in its own way. Once you have an army, you can move out and explore the map. But be careful, your opponents are building armies too, and they do not like you. Make sure your army is strong enough to take them on. In general, a bigger economy and better base management means a large army, which will allow you to defeat your opponents with ease, claiming victory. Of course, there are other ways to win StarCraft II games as well, such as through superior control, cost efficiency, or surprise tactics, and tricky maneuvers. But just like most wars, most games of StarCraft II are won through economy and technology. Remember, StarCraft II is just a game. No matter what happens, please try to enjoy yourself and have fun. About Teaching StarCraft. Teaching StarCraft is designed as a series of short episodes to teach StarCraft from the ground up. The primary focus of this guide is 1 vs 1 multiplayer games, generally considered to be the core format of StarCraft II. Although information from this guide should be relevant to all expansions of the StarCraft II series, it is designed around the Heart of the Swarm expansion. Teaching StarCraft is broken into 3 parts. Please feel free to jump to the part or episode that is most relevant to you. Episodes will be released weekly. Part 1 of Teaching StarCraft is designed for completely new players, players with little to no experience, or players stuck in the Bronze League. However, Part 1 should also contain information useful to players of all skill levels. In Part 1, we will discuss basic concepts, such as the use of the game client and Battle.net, basic gameplay, basic mechanics, basic macro or base management, and simple strategy. Part 1 will also include episodes describing the units and mechanics of each race. Part 2 of Teaching StarCraft is designed for intermediate players, those in the Silver, Gold, or Platinum leagues. However, the information in Part 2 should be simple enough for anyone to use, given that they have watched Part 1 of this tutorial. Episodes in Part 2 include macro, micro, scouting, build orders, army compositions, and intermediate strategy. Part 3 of Teaching StarCraft is designed for advanced players only. It is not recommended for players in the Platinum League or below. It is advised that these players focus on using the more basic concepts discussed in Parts 1 and 2 to reach at least the Diamond level before utilizing Part 3. Part 3 will cover topics such as reactive play, advanced maneuvers, map and terrain usage, timings, base trades, multitasking, advanced strategy, late game scenarios, and more. For more information on topics covered by each part of this guide, be sure to check the episode list for a description of all the episodes released so far. New episodes will be released on Mondays. Each episode of Teaching StarCraft should begin with a short description of its contents and end with practice advice if applicable. Please check the description of each video for timestamps and additional information. Please be aware that information in this section may be outdated and misleading, as the guide is adapted to better suit the needs of players. Teaching StarCraft alone is not enough to turn a beginning player into a professional. Be sure to look at other guides, watch streams online, or receive coaching if you are having trouble. This tutorial will occasionally point out guides or resources that are useful for newer players. Of course, if you want to improve, the most important thing to do is practice, so make sure to play lots of StarCraft II whenever you can. Nothing in this guide or any other guide will replace hard work and perseverance. Good luck, and I'll see you next time on Teaching StarCraft. If you like Teaching StarCraft, please support me by donating to my PayPal or subscribing to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitch and Twitter at twitch.tv/AdahnSC and twitter.com/AdahnSC. For more information and timestamps, please check the description below.